Hi, I'm Lamore Schaffman here for the Innovation Network, and with me here at the Wharton DC Innovation Summit is Ibrahim, the CEO of Radian. Thank you so much for joining us.
My pleasure. It's great to be here speaking about innovation. Always great to be here at a Wharton event as a Wharton alum.
Thank you. So it was really fascinating what you were talking about, the issues that Radian had been faced with in terms of a sudden downturn in market cap, rather significant. If you can talk a little bit about that, and then what was the philosophy that you had that said, you know what, we have got to think differently, and then begin to implement that within your team?
I don't think it was that conscious. It's just, I think, intrinsically, you have in your nature to say, I'm not going to accept anything but success. And I think you sort of do it more as an instinct than as a very well thought out plan. And that's why it is, I always tell people the best way to lead a company out of through challenges is to lead with passion as opposed to leading with analysis.
And so, but how did you convey that to the team? How would you know that you had the right team there with you to do this?
Not everybody stayed in the face of those challenges, some at our option and some at their own option. So in a sense, the team self-selected to be there during the time of a challenge. Plus I recruited some people from the outside I had known for a while. I think I had a team that was very, very open-minded and positive about the fact that we could turn this around. And that's the reason why we succeeded, not so much because of me, but because of them.
So what were the key things that you and your team had to do in order to make sure that success was going to happen? And what were some of the key things that you implemented, let's say?
Right. So the main things we had to worry about was we would not run out of liquidity, we would not run out of capital, and we maintained our customers and we maintained our employees' the employees' enthusiasm. I used to say, there'll be periods, and there were long periods when external capital was not available. And I said, as long as we hold on to our customers and as long as we hold on to our employees and they're enthusiastic, someday, based on our success, capital will come knocking on our door and they'll want to put money in the company. And sure enough, that's what happened. But one of the tools we chose to rally the employees was we said, instead of just sitting on our hands and moaning about all these external factors that conspired against us, let's take charge and say, in every downturn there's a positive side. And in the immediate aftermath of the downturn, we had tremendous opportunity to grow the business, created by the fact that not everybody else, including many companies who were less hit than us and stronger than us, were focusing on growing their business. We had salespeople available that we could recruit. We had customers receptive to us calling on them. And there was a strategic issue that I had been concerned about, which was the reason for the merger that did not go through, was to broaden our customer base. So we said, in fact, one of my new business development persons always reminds me, they said, I remember when the downturn hit, you came to us and said, we're going to be bleeding hundreds of millions of dollars in credit losses. What difference does it make if we spend $20-30 million more and grow our sales force and customer base? So in essence, we're willing enough to take that risk.
That's brilliant. So you listed at the very end of the presentation a number of different elements. There were some key walkaways. If you could just give us a couple.
So one of the walkaways I listed was, sometimes we discount how much our people are capable of accomplishing if we allow them to. People say, what is the one skill you would like to develop more than anything else? And of course, we all, particularly those of us who went to a school as strong as Wharton, there's this reputation the school has of making you know and understand and be able to use all these sophisticated financial tools. And by the way, they're all very, very important. But I've always said there's only one thing I would like to be good at in my life. It is to finding the key that it takes to turn somebody on and make them do more than they thought that they thought they were capable of doing, because I always know they're able to do more than they thought they could. And so that's what I've tried to develop in my life, and I think I owe that to my dad, because I came from a family that was very conflicted. My dad was a quintessential communicator and a salesperson and small business person. He didn't care as much about formal education. My mother was more into formal education, made sure I went to the best schools, and was did well and so on academically. So I think the side I got from my dad was ultimately it's how you can get people to do amazing things, and people are capable of doing. I've very rarely have I been disappointed with people. Occasionally you are, and those are not the right people for you.
So can you give us a hint of one way that you do that, inspire others and get the best out of them?
Well, it's really being very sincere and showing them you believe in them and giving them the room to succeed while giving them the advice and support and encouragement, but giving them the opportunity to paint their own masterpiece. Everyone in us wants to have some ownership and some role and some personal way of doing things and feeling that they can make a difference. And if you genuinely give them the opportunity to make a difference, and you give them the encouragement and support and the recognition of having, if they make a difference, and cheerlead them and say, you're amazing, you're wonderful. It's like nurturing young kids. If you constantly beat up on them and give them negative feedback, they'll not turn out to be that great. But if you give them confidence, and yet you stand behind them when they have small failures and allow them, but give them encouragement and keep telling them how smart and they are, then they will rise to great things. And the same thing happens with your team members.
S.A., thank you so much for joining us.
You're welcome. It's been delightful. Thanks.
And thank you.